It is the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, holiday style, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We will be here with you for the next hour, talking local, regional, and national sports topics, and fired up to do so. Which right now we're kind of creating our own heat because man, it is cold out there. Wade, what's up?
What's happening, Mo? Good to be with you. Good to see everybody today. You are exactly right. It is kind of that in between stage where you're still celebrating the holidays a little bit, but excited to be with everybody as they kind of navigate through whatever their work slash personal life looks like these next couple.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's crazy. I took the trash out yesterday in shorts. Would not suggest doing that today.
Got to
This
be a
is
quick trip today.
this is nuts, man. I mean, just watching the temp plummet from I think they said the high yesterday was 75 and it's been flirting with freezing all day today. So y'all bundle up out there if you are, returning stuff or going out to some holiday basketball games or whatever it is. There's plenty of that to do. Actually, we'll be getting into that with the rundown here in a bit, but still plenty to do to kind of enjoy this purgatory, as Wade said. Between the holidays and maybe you got some time off, particularly if you're in the education. Um, what am I looking for? If you are a teacher or an educator, administrator, something like that, maybe you got some time off. Maybe you can go see some of your kids play, that kind of thing. But
Or if your employer just loves you, you get this back. The calendar has been so quirky. It's been nice for a lot of folks. Hadn't been as nice for others, but it must be done. And we'll come out on the other side nice and neat and clean in a brand new year at the end of the week.
absolutely, absolutely. Big show today. We have visiting with us in the next segment TERESA Walker of the Associated Press. Big game at Nissan Stadium yesterday. The Titans looking to win back to back. And it was looking like it was going to go that way until it didn't. And so we will get some insight from TERESA on that Saints. What was the final score? Saints 34, Titans 26 final from yesterday at Nissan. We'll also talk a little college football, both before and after TERESA. Talk a little Preds, a little Grizzlies, and we'll get in and out here in about 56 minutes. So should be fun.
Yeah, pretty excited to spend some time with everybody today because a lot to unpack over the weekend. You're right; it was nice and warm yesterday. Mascots beheading children at halftime at Nissan Stadium.
I
The
heard
Saints
about that.
beheading the Titans in the second half, and the Titans improving their draft stock all in one. It really was kind of like a Christmas present. You get to unwrap a little bit of everything yesterday.
No doubt. Some unwrapping took place earlier in the weekend up in Ann Arbor, I guess. Wade, Wade
Yeah.
got to be a pretty excited camper, all things considered. We'll be talking about that in the final segment as well. But yeah,
And the good news, Mo, they kept the field nice and warm. As cold as it's going to be the next couple of days. Kept it nice and warm for the Vols and Illini fans who will invade tomorrow.
there you go. There you go. Plenty to get to. Let's go ahead and get started into it, I guess, with this weekend's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Monday rundown time, ladies and gentlemen, which means it's time to bring you a quick word from our friends at Zion Christian Academy. Today's rundown is brought to you each and every single Monday by the folks at ZCA, where they offer a faith-based, Christ-centered education right here in Murray County. So give them a call today. That number is 931-388-5831, or you can visit zioneagles.org and schedule an appointment today. Once again, Zion Christian Academy, where they are prepared for college and equipped for purpose.
Some high school basketball scores from Friday night. Caldwell County out of Kentucky dealt Springfield a 54-47 loss. Again, in girls basketball action. Also, girls basketball final. Logan County of Kentucky defeated Clarksville Northeast 75-31. Boys basketball. East Nashville with a 67-38 win over Crockett County. Auburn of Alabama defeated Ezel Harding 76-60. Milwaukee Juneau out of Wisconsin defeated Oakland 74-63. Prattville, Alabama 51, Rockville 47. Pearl Cone with a 62-51 win over Sheffield out of Alabama. And Barron County, Kentucky defeated Springfield 73-40. In the association, it was the Grizzlies 120, Bucks 104.
Girls basketball action beginning Saturday. Had quite a few games to update you guys on. And we start with Clarksville Northeast, who fell 61-32 to Bullitt Central. That's Bullitt Central out of Kentucky on Saturday. Getting one back, though, for the Volunteer State. Ezel Harding defeated Fort Pierce Central. That's out of Florida, 58-31. Was that girls basketball final. More scores now. Clarksville Academy 58, Rossview 38, 54-38, beg pardon. Hendersonville picking up a 36-25 win over Westmoreland. Henry County turning back Cheatham County 56-47. It was Christian Community 55, Joe Burns 41. Liberty Creek picking up a nice win, 81-60 over Macon County. Loretto 55-36 winners over Florence, Alabama. Also defeating Muscle Shoals, Alabama on Saturday, 54-47. More down the stretch here now. Middle Tennessee Christian 66, Clark Range 45. Green Hill was a 64-28 winner over Murphy, Alabama. Springfield defeating Oldham County, Kentucky 65-45. Priceville, Alabama slipping by the slimmest of margins past Portland 42-41. CPA was a winner over South Walton, Florida 43-36. Summertown turning back South Green, 54-47. Warren County picking up a 47-44 win over Watertown. Kirkwood 46, White House Heritage 38, and Wilson Central defeated White House 55-16.
In boys basketball action, it was Blackman with an 83-51 win over Martin Luther King. Cookeville defeated Middle Tennessee Christian 67-53. Ezel Harding 55, Prattville, Alabama 52. Franklin with a 66-51 win over Stars Mill of Georgia. Pickett County defeated Gallatin 59-45. It was Green Hill 53, Clarksville 33. Henry County down Cheatham County 66-36. East Nashville with an 82 win over Humboldt. Wow, high scoring affair there. Lausanne 77, Joe Burns 75. Bullock County of Alabama 42, Lead Academy 39. Liberty Creek with a 43-28 win over Mount Juliet. It was Muscle Shoals of Alabama 49, Loretto 41. Macon County down Kip Nashville 68-43. Marshall County defeated Santa Fe 53-37. North Sand Mountain of Alabama 68, Murfreesboro Central 34. Oakland with a 62-58 win over Mayo of Kentucky. Providence Christian 79. Eagles Landing Christian Academy of Georgia 69. Rockvale defeated Pinson Valley out of Alabama 43-42. It was Perry County 59, Rossview 50. Pearl Cone defeated Russellville of Alabama 53-40. Springfield with a 65-57 win over Owensboro, Kentucky. Stewart's Creek 62, Hendersonville 56. Summertown defeated Monroe County of Kentucky 59-44. It was Trousdale County 70, Kip Nashville 25. South Doyle with a 53-34 win over Watertown. Westview defeated West Creek 65-59. White House Heritage 73, Sycamore 48. And Christ Presbyterian Academy with a 10-point win over Wilson Central, 64-54. On the ice, it was the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis defeating the Nashville Predators 3-2.
Other games to tell you about from the weekend. Girls basketball action continued into Sunday, where Springfield picked up a 66-36 win over Bullitt Central, Kentucky. Oldham County, Kentucky cruising versus Clarksville Northeast, 76-26. Vanderbilt defeating Stonehill 109-50 in the women's college basketball action from Sunday. Austin Peay with a nice victory as well, 73-38 over Berry College. Austin Peay's men picking up a big dub versus Fisk, 110-59 on Sunday. The Wizards continuing their mastery of the Memphis Grizzlies as of late, 116-12 on Sunday. And the Saints, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, stayed hot with that victory Mo referenced earlier, 34-26 over the beloved Tennessee Titans. Girls. Continuing today at
Go ahead.
9 a.m. I lost my marker here, folks, as the games got underway at 9 a.m. once again as Thomas Worthington took on Davidson Academy. Harpeth Hall was also set to meet Franklin County this morning at 9 a.m. 10:30 saw Brentwood meeting Hickman County. Lancaster Christian and Marshall County were also set to square off this morning, as were Pickett County and Mount Juliet. We had a 10 a.m. start time for Summertown versus Northview Academy. Franklin Christian and Giles County set to tangle at noon. Milan and Ravenwood were also set to begin at noon, as were Eagleville and Skyline, Alabama. Ezel Harding was set to take on Kakuna, Wisconsin at 12:45, and Maryville was scheduled to meet Franklin Road Academy at 1 p.m. this afternoon.
At the bottom of the hour, Ensworth takes on University School of Jackson. Also, Kenwood and Blackman will play at 2:30. At 3 o'clock, Worthington Kilbourne out of Ohio will face Goodpasture. Also at 3 at Stone Memorial and Lipscomb Academy. Harlan County, Kentucky, and Stewart's Creek. At 3:30, Bradley Central takes on Riverdale over in Murfreesboro. Macon County will face Wilson Central at 4. Knoxville Catholic and Rockvale will play at 4. Also at 4 is East Robertson and Joe Burns. At 4:30, Bartlett takes on Pearl Cone. At 5:30, Cumberland County of Kentucky faces Columbia Academy. Also at 5:30, Green Hill takes on Forsyth Central out of Georgia, and the Kings Academy faces Oakland. 6 o'clock starts for Campbell County at Page. Also, Culleoka at Forest. Greenbrier faces Kirkwood at 6. Christ Presbyterian Academy and Knox Central out of Kentucky will play at 6. Also, Warren County and Middle Tennessee Christian at 6. Beach and Mosley out of Florida will play at 6. And finally, at 6 o'clock, it's Olentangy Liberty out of Ohio at Nashville Christian. At 7 o'clock, Murfreesboro Central plays at Liberty Creek. Also, Franklin takes on Dobbins Bennett at 7:30. 7:30 start for Lawrence County and Lebanon over at Page. Columbia Central plays at Richland at 7:30. No start times for Clarksville Academy at Stewart County or Portland and Chelsea of Alabama.
Boys basketball action also cranked up at 9 a.m. this morning. Hickman County fell to Nolensville. Forget the final score, but it was a tight ball game. Trust me when I tell you that, folks. Nolensville knocking off Hickman County early this morning. Pope John Paul II don't have a score there, but they met Kirkwood again bright and early on this Monday morning. Bartlett and Cane Ridge were set to tangle at 10:30. Also at 10:30, Campbell, Georgia versus Murfreesboro Central Magnet. McGavick versus Davidson Academy. Columbia Academy and Eagleville. Lancaster Christian taking on Lawrence County, DeKalb County, and Middle Tennessee Christian, and capping that 10:30 window, Lipscomb Academy versus Siegel. 11 a.m. start time for Cheatham County and McEwen this morning. CPA and Mount Juliet were set to do battle at 11:30, as were North College Hill, Ohio, and Summertown. 1 p.m. start times for Peabody versus Riverdale, University School of Nashville versus Webb School, Alcoa and Brentwood Academy set to meet at 1:30 this afternoon, if they stayed on schedule, that is. Also at 1:30, Montgomery Central versus Community, Ravenwood versus Stone Memorial, Livingston Academy at Watertown. Now we go to 2 o'clock start times, and White House was set to meet Hendersonville at that time. 2:30, Lausanne and White House Heritage. 3 o'clock, Briarcrest Christian versus Brentwood, South Gibson versus Giles County, and Lawson versus Rockvale. Harbert, Arkansas versus Columbia set to take place at 4 p.m., as are Grace Christian Franklin versus Ezel Harding, Blackman and Hillsboro, and Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Santa Fe capping some games beginning underway at 4 p.m.
4:30 starts for Station Camp in Cookville. Also, Franklin Classical at Mount Pleasant, Whites Creek and Oak Ridge, Kip Nashville, and Pickett County. 5:30 starts for Joe Burns at East Robertson, as well as Green Hill and Father Ryan. This isn't good. Green Hill is either playing Father Ryan or Blackman at 5:30. Check your local listings. Also at 5:30, it's Wilson Central and Stewart's Creek. At 6 o'clock, Crestview of Florida faces Beach. Also at 6, Franklin Christian takes on Lewis County out at Mount Pleasant. 6 o'clock start as well for Battleground Academy in Maryville. Frank Hughes faces host Richland at 6. Knoxville Catholic takes on the Tennessee Heat at 6. At 7:30 at Mount Pleasant, it's Zion Christian and Culleoka. Also at 7:30, Lebanon is at Forest. Lambert of Georgia faces Franklin at 7:30. Heritage Christian of Georgia takes on Independence at 7:30. Also, Gallatin is at Macon County. Middle College is at Page. At 8:30, Centennial goes to Liberty Creek. And no start times for Chattanooga Prep and Providence Christian or Warren County and Clarksville Academy.
Coming down the stretch, we got a trio of games getting underway at 6 o'clock to tell you about men's college basketball style. Lipscomb at Cincinnati. That one's going to be shown on ESPN+. Also on ESPN+, Belmont will be at Indiana State. New Haven and Vanderbilt will get underway over Memorial Gym, and that one is set to be broadcast on SEC Network Plus. At 7 p.m. Been talking about this game for the last 6 months, it feels like, but MTSU will finally head to Houston, and best of luck to the Blue Raiders versus Kelvin Sampson squad. Again, a 7 p.m. start time, and you can see that one on ESPN+. 6 p.m. showdown for Belmont women at Southern Illinois tonight. That one will be shown on ESPN+. NHL action, the Preds will be at the Mammoth tonight beginning at 8. Again, puck drop set for 8 p.m., and that game will be shown on FanDuel Sports South. Finally, we close with NFL action this evening. It'll be the Rams and Falcons, getting it on down in Georgia at 7:15 p.m., and that one, ladies and gentlemen, will be shown on ESPN. Speaking of ladies and gentlemen, those were your scores. That was your schedule, and that concludes today's rundown.
Your top story brought to you as always by the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options available from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story, and it comes from the college football ranks. Earlier today, it was announced, Marcus Freeman announced he will remain in South Bend, Indiana, as coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish for 2026. In fact, in a post on X or Twitter or however you care to refer to it, he said, 2026, run it back, go Irish. Freeman had been connected to some NFL possibilities here over the last little bit. Meanwhile, Notre Dame's season obviously did not end the way officials at the school would have liked, with them being left out of the college football playoffs and them consequently opting out of bowl play. And there was some speculation as to whether or not Freeman was on board with that. But I guess whatever took place, everybody ironed things out. Freeman is back in South Bend. Obviously, it was thought that the Titans might be taking a run at him. The Giants might be taking a run at him. Neither of them will be doing so.
Yep, find ourselves right back where we started, and Freeman, in the blink of an eye with one tweet, basically puts everything right back. But Mo, to me, this feels exactly, you mentioned Michigan earlier and a new coach, this feels exactly like the Harbaugh situation. Every year there will be callers and there will be suitors for Marcus Freeman. And, every year it'll be kind of up to him to decide, because he's done such a great job, obviously getting within a game of a national championship last year, getting right there in the conversation, maybe being one of the better teams, depending on how you rate Notre Dame, as the regular season came to a close this year. Every year it feels like this will be the situation going forward. And if you're a Notre Dame fan, every year you're just hoping you get a tweet just like you got today. Good news if you're a Golden Domer, you got your guy back for another season.
43-12 as head coach at Notre Dame is Marcus Freeman. Again, went to the national finals last year, snubbed, so say the Golden Domers this time around. And they're going to run it back, and they've got some pieces to run it back with, I guess, including the quarterback, C.J. Carr. In this game, that's always a great place to start.
Good place to start. Obviously, one less piece, one less bit of the puzzle you got to try and solve in the transfer portal. Maybe focus those efforts elsewhere. Yeah, you lose Jeremiah Love, but, running back play, they're not necessarily going to be hurting as much as if they perhaps had lost a veteran signal caller. So if you like what you got in Carr, make of what you will about dropping USC, but that's a whole different podcast episode. But your schedule looks, navigationable as it could be heading into next season. So you find yourself in a berry patch if you're Marcus Freeman every single year. It didn't work out for you this year, but you're going to be right there in the thick of things going forward. And so, yeah, you have all the cards if you're Freeman, right? You don't have to take the Giants offer, no matter how bad and no matter how many overtures they make at you. And so, yeah, you're in an advantageous situation. You can take whatever job is going to be coming to you because your stock presumably is going to be pretty high going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you are at Notre Dame. You're going to be in this situation every year, right, wrong, or otherwise. You're either going to be in the playoffs or you're going to be right there on the edge thereof. And as long as he continues doing what he's been doing, he's going to, to your point, be in those conversations. At some point, this won't be the way it wraps up for Notre Dame fans, but take what you can get as long as you can out of this guy. He's keeping you in a really good situation, and he's going to have you in it again in 2026, he said begrudgingly. Marcus Freeman running it back at Notre Dame for the upcoming season. Let's take a break here as we continue the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today. It's our 1-hour holiday edition. When we come back, we will be joined by the queen of Tennessee sports media, TERESA Walker of the Associated Press, talking Little Titans. Stick around.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Busy bee, yeah, busy bee. If you need
Hold on, y'all, hold on. I need to make a call. Hey, this is Brianna with Busy Bee. I'm giving you a call to let you know your technician is on his way.
833.
Bee, oh, busy bee. Guys, not yet. Not yet.
Busy bee, oh,
Now
busy
I'm ready,
bee.
guys.
Call 775-7833.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Columbia Power and Water Systems is dedicated to bringing our customers reliable local service. Whether you're turning on a light switch, your faucet, or streaming on TV, our dedicated team members from here in Murray County work every day to keep you on. If you need us, call us 931-388-4833 or visit cpws.com. CPWS, local service, local support.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today.
Nashville's Nutcracker, presented by Nashville Ballet, returns to TPAC November 29th through December 28th. This holiday season, audiences will journey with Clara and the Nutcracker Prince through Nashville's history and the land of sweets. Tickets on sale at NashvilleBallet.com.
Welcome back into the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We'll be here with you for about another 35 minutes on our hour-long holiday schedule. Joining us now from the Associated Press to talk Tennessee Titans football, it is the queen of Tennessee sports media, TERESA Walker. And Roscoe.
And Roscoe, who is wanting to be fed a little early, and also just who doesn't want to settle in and get snug and warm on a cold day like today. Smart cat.
Food and warmth are always at a premium, but particularly on a day like this. So yeah, we get it, Roscoe. We're cool and we're cat folks. So maybe Roscoe's got something to say about the Titans.
It would be just catty at this point, so we'll keep him out of this.
Man, I mean, from a long-term aspect, I guess, as Wade said earlier in the show, you kind of got everything you wanted. The Titans did some good things over the course of yesterday's game, but in the bottom line, they improved their draft status with that 34-26 loss. So it is what it is, obviously, but man, it would have been their first back-to-back victories in almost 4 seasons since November of 22 had they won.
That's the tough part. People, when they were up 20-10, had that 13-0 lead. People are like, "Ooh, we want to win. We want to win." You want to see Cam do Cam things. We saw some Cam doing Cam things. Nearly saw him throw probably maybe the play of the year on that 4th and 10. Except, oops, the knee was down.
Yeah.
But to have the presence of mind and the vision to find Tyjae Spears over to the side and get him that ball, I mean, that's the thing. He's making.
Here, let me stop you just a second. We ripped Will Levis from one end to the other over trying to make those very same type plays last year, and I guess in part because they never worked. But he had to be sitting somewhere yesterday watching that and watching everybody react to that and going, what the hell?
I'll just say this. Right now, Cam Ward has got 15 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. Has he had a pick 6 or 2? Yes. He threw that ball to his teammate. Right now, Cam Ward's biggest issue is pocket awareness and protecting the ball when there's a pass rusher like Chase Young or Cam Jordan breathing down his neck and holding on to the ball. And that's something that he will get better with. It's just, and this is what's going to be interesting in 2026. Will Levis has still got a final year left under his rookie deal. I mean, at this point, there's no reason for the Titans not to tell Will Levis, come back and compete. You show the world what you can do, then maybe we get a draft pick offer for you and late in August, and you get a chance to go somewhere. Either way, competition will make you and Cam Ward better. But think about this. Will Levis couldn't stay healthy and stay on the field. Cam Ward, despite being sacked 55 times, most by any quarterback through 16 games this season, it has taken every offensive snap. He is going to start on Sunday, barring something bad happening between now and then. And that would make him the first quarterback to start every game since Tannehill in 2021. Guys, I looked it up. You know how many seasons since this team's moved to Tennessee that a quarterback started every game? Now, yes, there were a couple times Steve McNair didn't start because they were resting him for the playoffs. 6 times. So this will be the 7th. Since 1997, there's only a couple teams in the NFL that have had less seasons with a quarterback starting every game. So he's been on the field. He's growing. And it's that vision. And yes, he there's some plays that are like, oh, it's close. But you see him dialing in. He had the incompletion deep to Chimdike, right, early in that game. And then what do we see a couple possessions later? He dials that in and hits Chimdike on the hands. He had that long 50-yard penalty where the only thing that kept Chimdike from making that catch for a touchdown was the defender literally tackling him. So we can see, and somebody I shared earlier today, somebody put together some of those passes. And it's not just folks who watch the Titans, some of the national folks. Brian Baldinger had a breakdown last week of the plays that he's making, the vision he's showing. And yes, taking every snap, it's the kind of work that, Will Levis didn't get. And, again, the offensive line hasn't helped him out a ton. He's been growing. And did you see who he had in that second half for target options? DK, Ayamaner, rookies. Gunnar Helm, rookie. Chigakwankwo, fourth year. Mason Kinsey was catching passes. And Mason Kinsey knew where to be this time, as opposed to that game earlier in the season where he goes one way and the pass goes the other. So at this point, guys, yes, there's that chance. But you know what? Tyjae Spears was all by himself when Cam Ward threw that ball to him. And if he's going to make that, and I think it was Cam Jordan yesterday, maybe Chase Young was talking about how you watch him play. And yes, he's got some Mahomes to him. I think Titans fans will take that.
Yeah, not a bad comp, to say the least, right? And Teresa, you kind of summed it up best. What I saw was two really good, in my opinion, rookie quarterbacks going toe-to-toe yesterday. One of them just happens to have Chris Olave, and the other has the group of characters that you just rattled off that are the Titans receivers.
Well, and think about this. He was also going against the Titans secondary. Amani Hooker's back there. Yeah. Daryl Baker's back there. But when Jalen Armour-Davis got hurt on the third play away from the ball, I mean, it was the Achilles, horrible, sad injury. I mean, think about it. He's been on the injury report. He's been trying to get back in there, and it just doesn't come through. Van Jefferson, forearm, sure looks like he broke it because he ain't going to be playing in Jacksonville on Sunday. And so, yeah, I mean, could you imagine what he could do with a Chris Olave type receiver on this roster? Calvin Ridley had one 100-yard game this season before ending up hurt and on IR. So, and then you add this. Cam Ward had to go against a defense that came in 9th in the NFL in yards allowed per game. Yeah, that's not the Titans. So Tyler Shuck was going against a defense that I'd like to see the numbers that Cam Ward put up against them. I think Terry McCormick tweeted out the numbers that Shedeur Sanders and Tyler Shuck put up against the Titans defense. I just say this. I'd like to see what, let's switch roles. Let's see what Cam Ward could do to those two teams.
Yeah, we could have saw Blooper and T-Rack, throwing some of the passes that they were throwing at halftime versus the Titans secondary and maybe put up similar numbers. I'm with you on that point, T.
Or maybe, I mean, the Mascots had a great game against the kids at one point yesterday. It was a highlight. But, if you got a space eater like Nash and Grizz out there helping, block for Tony Pollard or Cam Ward, that would be interesting, right? But, I mean, that's where we're at. And to circle back around, they had a chance. They, if they can win on Sunday, they will finish with, I think, 3 wins in their final 5 games. Now, unfortunately, they are now a 3-season and counting drought since winning back-to-back games. They last did it November 13th, November 17th, the Thursday night game in Green Bay in 2022, and they have not strung together consecutive wins since then. They've won 12 games since then. They have not managed to follow up with a win the game after that. So and Jeffrey Simmons said that Mike McCoy told him that Saturday night, and it was kind of surprising to hear that it had been that long. That shows the focus that players have on this week alone. But it's probably the biggest indictment of where and how low this franchise has fallen.
Maybe they're concerned with having to sacrifice a coordinator if they win back-to-back.
Well, they didn't sacrifice one in November 2022. That lasted through the season, but and by the way, he has a job in New England these days. So, yeah.
Don't say New England too loud around here these days. That probably wouldn't be received very well.
Well, for people that don't want to hear that, look to Chicago, New England, and what's the other? Chicago, New England. I'm forgetting the third. Jacksonville, shockingly enough. But teams that were really bad last year with quarterbacks that, especially Caleb Williams and Drake May, people were ready to just move on to the next. Guess what? They look amazing with new coaches. And And yeah, Cam Ward kind of spoke to that yesterday, that they know change is coming. In 7 days, the coaching search kicks off into official status at this point, this time next week, and we'll see what change comes.
You just mentioned those three teams, Teresa, and those three quarterbacks and kind of those situations. I'm curious, what immediate is there any common denominator? What ingredient might the Titans what step might they need to take other than perhaps a head coach to kickstart that process in your mind? Because there are some kind of simmering ingredients with Simmons, Ward, obviously, and some others there. I'm curious maybe what else they might need immediately.
Well, the first thing is the coach. And I, that's the thing. I know that everybody's got a theory on what they should get, what they need. Call me crazy. I think they need to get somebody who has proven experience calling plays, whether it's offensive plays in a game, defensive plays, having had to make some in-game adjustments and show me your work. Show me that they were doing this to us in the first half. We had to do that because hiring Brian Callahan, he was the hot candidate when they hired him, but he had never, ever called plays in a game. Even though he was Cincinnati's offensive coordinator, he was the Joe Burrow guru whisperer. He had not done anything that you could say actually translated in a game because Zach Taylor was calling the plays. So whether it's a coach who's on a second time around, Arthur Smith, Robert Saleh, Mike McCarthy, who'd be a third timer, has been the hot topic candidate since they fired Brian Callahan in October. But that you've got to do first and stock the coaching, because you can't do anything player-wise until we get to March and the new league year. Now, just before that league year, you can clear cap space. So, Wade, that's the next step.
Okay.
Clear some more cap space. No offense, Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed, bye-bye. You've got outs in your contract. I'm really curious to see what they do with Lloyd Cushenberry. Say what you want about Rand Carthon and his big spending spree. He wrote contracts that gave the Titans an escape route for a bunch of those guys coming in 2026. So, Lloyd Cushenberry is one of those, but guys, he has picked up steam. He's now a year past the Achilles himself, and you can see him looking like the guy that they wanted when they signed him. And, so do they do something with Tony Pollard to clear more cap space? I've heard that theory on the airwaves in Middle Tennessee. I'll say this. Man's had a fourth straight 1,000-yard season with a team that didn't seem to want to run the ball for the first 10 games. I don't get rid of Tony Pollard. You've got enough holes on this roster to fill. You've got to fill those too.
TERESA Walker of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Circle back to the coaching situation just a second as we continue to consider the Callahan situation. Does that make the Titans more apt to more strongly consider someone with head coaching experience? Please say yes.
I'd like to say yes, but we don't have a track record for Mike Borgonzi, right? And the last two coaches this franchise hired were first-time head coaches. Mike Vrabel was a first-time head coach, but he had been a defensive coordinator. And, let's face it, they only interviewed 3 people that week. 2 of them became head coaches. One of them has had stunning success in Green Bay. The talk of the weekend was, my God, look what he did with Malik Willis. And for the people saying, well, why didn't the Titans do that? We did not see that out of Malik here. So that's the thing. Does it have to be that's why I think the ability to adjust, the ability to do things in the fire of a game with that clock ticking, the play clock ticking, and making those adjustments. And by the way, heard lots of talk about the Saints about the halftime adjustments from yesterday. Sure worked, 24-6 in the second half. So, that's what I think, the ability to adjust on the fly, to understand this just happened, scroll through the incredibly massive NFL rule book and know how to attack in that situation, when to challenge, when not to challenge. It's more than just, do I go for it on fourth down? When do I use this timeout? There's that feel for the game. And, let's face it, we've seen guys who've been around and been head coaches who still don't have it. So And with Mike McCarthy,
Looking at you, Sean McDermott.
well, I'm flashing back to Mike McCarthy in that Dallas playoff game where Dak's running down the field as the time's ticking off and they can't get the ball to the official. I'm sorry, but there are coaches in the NFL that practice end game situations just for such moments so that their players know, get down, give the ball to somebody, get lined up, spike the ball so you have one last shot. Those are the kind of things that intangible. And this is where Mike Berganzi, we don't know. He's never run a coaching search. We should be able, we're hoping to talk to him in a week after they do their clear out on Monday. But, that's the thing. We're reading tea leaves here and people are trying to read what the national folks are putting out because, they're holding this close to the vest, which if it's a smaller committee, then help pick Brian Callahan, probably better.
It shouldn't get lost in 3 and 13, but man, Jeffrey Simmons has been unstoppable among other things. Got his 10th sack of the season yesterday and just wreaking havoc against New Orleans, kind of like he has against everybody else.
He has had the AP All-Pro team comes out a week or so after the regular season ends, and he's been a second teamer. He should be the top defensive tackle. He has had that season in the NFL this year. Think about it. He's been, how much help has he had on this defense? They had Draymond Jones, they traded him away. The secondary's battered and bruised. And, Cedric Gray has become a tackling machine, another bright spot for a second-year guy. So, but what Jeffrey Simmons has done, I shared a tweet from NFL Researcher over the weekend. The guys who, the top leaders with sacks on third down, that's money down, right? That's get off the field down. He was in that list. He was the only defensive tackle in the top of those. And the fact that he is that productive, and I think at that point, maybe 7 of his sacks had come like on third down. So don't hold me to that. You can check my timeline, but 6 or 7 of his sacks have been on third down, which is get you off the field downs like we saw yesterday. He got his 10th on third down, and he got a strip out of that. They didn't recover it, but I think that was his third forced fumble this season. And he's done and is doing things that we have not seen out of a defensive player or tackle in a long time. Just remember when he had that sack strip in San Francisco in the touchdown, first defensive player to do that since J.J. Watt. And I think it was 2014. Yeah, it's been a while. So hopefully he's got the Pro Bowl nod. He led fan voting for that. Certainly hope that, I do not have a vote for the AP All-Pro team. It's the one the NFL counts. And, when it comes out, I will not be surprised if he should be at the top of that list at defensive tackle.
Been unreal to y'all's point this season. And Sweat, one quick thing, Sweat did not produce the way I perhaps thought he might in his sophomore year after such an electric rookie season. It truly kind of has been a one-man wrecking crew up front with Simmons.
Well, exactly, because, Devondre Sweat, had the appendectomy, and then he had that, and he was dinged up coming into the season, didn't have his true training camp, and then, he finally starts to get back, and then Jeff Simmons misses a couple games. And think about that. Jeff Simmons has got 10 sacks. He missed 2 games. I think it was 2 games with the hamstring. So that's the thing. He's done this in a shorter period of time compared to others. So, there's no asterisk for Jeff Simmons. If he gets an 11th or 12th sack on Sunday, there's no 17 games asterisk for him on this season.
Teresa Walker of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. T and Roscoe, as always, we appreciate y'all taking some time with us, and we'll talk.
Sounds good. I would have had my microphone up in front of me, but I've got a space heater taking up the spot where I would have gone. So Roscoe says, bye. It's time to feed me now.
Please feed Roscoe. Thank you. Let's take a break here as we continue the 1-hour holiday edition of the weekend wrap-up on Main Street Sports Today. When we come back, we'll jump into the grab bag, take you around the weekend and into tonight. Stick around. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
When I think of Delta Dental now, it's really their core values. It's the volunteerism, it's the giving back.
Delta Dental gives us 10,000 toothbrushes. So twice a year, we have these children that are going home with food that may not have weekend food, and they're also getting a toothbrush.
The best partners are the ones that truly do impact the community together, and I don't think there's a better example of that than our partnership with Delta Dental.
Is your internet slowing you down? It's time for an upgrade. Whether you're at home, working from your home office, or at your business, it's time to unleash the speed you need with speeds up to 1 gig at CPWS for as low as $70 a month. Give us a call, 931-375-7777. Local service, local support, CPWS.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
The holidays bring us together. Gather with loved ones where over 1 million lights shine and celebrate a beloved tradition at Cheekwood's Holiday Lights. Explore the festive mansion decorated by former White House florist Laura Dowling and wander through a magical wonderland of gardens aglow. Get into the spirit of the season at Cheekwood.
It's the final segment of our hour-long holiday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Big Monday night football game tonight, the final Monday night football game of the 2025 season, as the Rams go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Some of us remember when that was an NFC West division matchup. Rams kind of fighting for their playoff life. I don't guess they can get back into that top four at 11-4 going into tonight. Well, maybe, I don't know. If they win and then they win next week, I guess they could conceivably tie the Seahawks. So they still got something to play for here, but certainly trying to elevate themselves in the playoff picture. And you know what you're going to get out of the Falcons at this point.
Yeah, buckle up. You never know. This is the type of game that the Falcons thrive. We saw Kirk Cousins on a Thursday night light the world on fire a couple weeks ago. So who knows? Kyle Pitts is liable to make a rare cameo. Buckle up. The Rams are eliminated from NFC West contention, and the Seahawks, yes, obviously taking care of business, but man, oh man, them and the 49ers going to be going toe-to-toe for that spot, and ultimately the 1 seed. Going back to that Thursday night game a couple weeks ago, Seattle and LA going to overtime. Told you guys it was a big game then, and now it looms large because it does feel exactly like that situation we saw last year, right, Mo, with the Vikings and with the Lions.
Right.
Except now we got a third team mixed in. San Francisco has flown under the radar so much this season because of their injuries, and now they find themselves sitting in the catbird seat, especially after what we saw last night on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. That'll be one to keep an eye on ahead of this final week of the season, like you said. And it feels like it's got to be Seahawks and 49ers in the final game Sunday night, right?
Already listed, and I believe it's Ravens and Steelers.
Oh, wow.
The AFC North battle, right?
Yeah, it is. I just figured they would go with the NFC West, especially, it being out on the West Coast and everything that's on the line for that one.
Well, that's the nightcap on Saturday night when they play. They're on ABC, ESPN on Saturday night.
Okay, my bad.
So you got the two games, right? It's set up beautifully. We got the Panthers-Bucks to decide the South. We got the Seahawks and the 49ers to decide the West. Both of those on Saturday. And then if you can roll over and make it all the way to Sunday night on Peacock and NBC, you got the Ravens and Steelers duking it out. Two mid-records, but a lot to play for there in that AFC North showdown.
Meanwhile, the Rams finish up against visiting Arizona on Sunday. So, if they take care of business, they should be in pretty good shape, obviously. On the ice, we mentioned during the rundown, Nashville dropping a 3-2 decision at St. Louis on Saturday night. They had won their last 3 games prior to that loss. They've got the Mammoth out in Salt Lake City tonight. Utah 18-3. The Preds flirting with 500. I don't know if anybody thought that they would get there the way they started the season, but they are 16-17-4. So actually they were at 500 before that loss to St. Louis on Saturday.
Yeah, clawing back in, and that's the thing. They're going to have to continue whatever little fairy dust and magic dust is in their sticks and boots. They need to bottle it up and cling to it as tight as humanly possible, because whatever they've got rolling is kind of clicking for them right now. It'd be really, really nice if that could continue at least through the early part of the new year.
Tough loss for the Predators, but at least you could watch it on News Channel 5 and not have to battle with FanDuel Sports. For which
I knew you would come around on the FanDuel hatred there. I love that.
I thought about you. I knew that you were excited about that going in, and so I'm sure a number of other folks were excited to see that actually on the regular airwaves and not have to deal with FDS.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for an app, then you can't get the app to work. It's a novel concept that you can actually get something that you're already paying for to actually work. Kudos to the Preds fans for being able to do that finally.
Absolutely. Speaking of FanDuel, Memphis on Friday night with a big win over Milwaukee, but man, the Wizards are 7-23, and 2 of those 7 wins are against Memphis.
Told you guys last week, buckle up. This will be the Grizzlies season the rest of the way. They'll beat some teams they're not supposed to. They'll house some teams that they should, and they'll also lose to some teams that they're certainly not supposed to. When it's bad, Mo, when the highlight of the Grizzlies weekend was the fact that Grizz absolutely decapitated a kid on the Brentwood Blaze football team out on the stadium at Nissan Stadium yesterday. Got a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness, too. A little bit of a questionable after the fact. But, yeah, it's going to be an up-and-down season. It always kind of has been these last couple of years with injury in the team, and it will continue to be doing so.
They've got Philadelphia coming into the FedEx Forum tomorrow night. So, again, buckle up as they try to get back to 500 themselves. They have not been 500 since they won 3 of their first 5 games. They lost on Halloween to the Lakers to fall to 3-3. That was the first of 4 straight losses, and they haven't gotten back to even since then. So, been an uphill climb to say the least for the Grizzlies, and Wade says you can expect that to continue. No real reason not to believe him. Bowl season continues tonight. The Birmingham Bowl. Georgia Southern takes on Appalachian State. And if that sounds odd to you, there's a reason. They're both in the Sun Belt. And App State won this game 25-23 the first weekend in November. I don't know when you've seen 2 conference rivals play in a bowl game.
Was App State not the team that accepted, or are they not the ones that accepted the bid late? Maybe that's the only reason, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe they are actually the 5 and 7.
Yeah, Notre Dame, Iowa State, and Kansas State all opted out. App State says, hey, we already sent our kids home for 2 weeks, but sure, we'll play in a bowl game.
We'll play, yeah. Boone, North Carolina to Birmingham. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go over there, eat some ribs. Life is good. Should be an interesting matchup again. Appalachian State won at 25-23. But the Mountaineers 5-7, Georgia Southern 6-6 on the year. So, it's a ball game. A lot of folks think there are too many. I don't know what the big deal is. If you don't like it, don't
If
watch.
you don't like it, don't watch it. I mean, hey, who are we kidding anyway? We've already seen the greatest college football game that is going to be played this offseason anyway. The Pop-Tarts Bowl delivered yet again as the People's National Champ. Yes, the People's National Champ, as they famously declared. The BYU Cougars downing Georgia Tech. They got the shirts from the crew to prove it. Epic stuff, epic memes. Won't find a better situation. It was a lit game, to say the least. Notre Dame just poo-pooing on the sidelines. Well, BYU and Georgia Tech said, all right, we'll handle the business in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Every other one has got to try and bear that torch now after what we saw this weekend.
I tell you what, though, man, for the career that we saw out of Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King, you hate to see it end on an interception in the end zone on what would have been the game-winning drive if they could have somehow pulled that
Yeah, he got
out.
put in his own toaster in a sense, right? And, came out of the other side with a bad taste in his mouth. Who knows what the future will hold for him, but you're right, an electric career. Kind of wild to see, right? Speaking of torches being passed, we see King obviously departing, and then Bear Bachmeier still wearing number 47 after that epic freshman season. It's going to be fun to watch him maybe calling the strings, presumably at BYU. You never know with the portal these days, but presumably as he continues his own career journey now.
47 taking snaps. That's nutty. Finally, let's go to Ann Arbor. You've got all of the coaching chaos that they had here recently with Sharon Moore being dismissed, among other things. You couldn't have come out of this any better, I don't think. Former Utah coach Kyle Whittingham is the new coach of the Wolverines, and ESPN ranks this as the 12th best hire of this coaching cycle. I don't know what they're smoking, but for everything that went on before to get this guy, I just don't know that you could have come out any better. I don't know that anybody could have come out any better than Michigan did with this hire.
No, I mean, it's Penn State 2.0, but obviously totally different circumstances, right? One was forced into a coaching search and one was not. One is dealing with legal ramifications. The other was not. But you're right. The backdoor, the falling bass backwards into an electric situation could not have gone any better. There were some candidates that were out there that I would have been more excited about, perhaps, but none were realistic. You're not getting Jesse Minter to come back. He's destined for an NFL head coaching job, maybe as soon as this offseason. You're not going to get John Harbaugh, most likely, depending on how week 18 goes against the Steelers. I guess he might be available. But you're right. This was probably the absolute best that you could get. Very similar to Matt Campbell going to Penn State. And kind of fitting. It's going to be interesting to see. He's 66, but man, he is a good-looking 66, a handsome 66, still whipping everybody on the Peloton. Going to be fun to see how he connects, though. He's such a hard-nosed coach. Does that style kind of translate to, a roster now full of blue chippers? He had some blue chippers at Utah, did some great things, but now a roster full of them. Be curious to see if he can pull it off. And if nothing else, stat of the day, stat of the offseason, right? He defeated Rich Rodriguez in his first game at Michigan. He defeated Jim Harbaugh in his first game at Michigan. And now Kyle Whittingham is the new Michigan head coach.
That's wild. They asked him on the podium, do you hate Ohio State? He said, I guess I do now. So
learn to hate, and he delivered the goods at Utah. A lot of fun. I know that's Bryce's homeboy, so it'd be fun to watch him and see what he can do. 66, but a surprise 66.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for the 1 hour holiday edition of the weekend wrap up here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Got a special best of show for you tomorrow. Tune in at 2:00. Y'all have a great Monday.